This evening, Ghana signs MOU with U.S. Export-Import Bank. Ministry of Health continues its preparation against monkeypox. Murder suspect killed amid attacking an armed security guard. In the region, 1 year on, Peru's president fights for political survival, and internationally, Iraqi protesters storm the parliament in Baghdad's green zone. Welcome to another broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. A US $2 billion memorandum of understanding was signed between the government of Guyana and the U.S. Export-Import Bank to fund infrastructure, electricity, telecommunications, water treatment and sanitation, and agricultural projects in Guyana. The agreement was signed between the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Hugh Todd, and the President of U.S. Export-Import Bank, Rita Jo Lewis, in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. The signing was witnessed by President Dr. Mohamed Irfanali, who is currently leading a high-level delegation to the country's capital. During brief remarks, President Ali described the signing as a dynamic move in advancing the relationship of both countries.
Today is the single most important signal, not only for Ghana, but for the region. The United States, through one of its agencies, Exim Bank, is serious about the commitment and promise to this region, carried on region. This signal is an open invitation to the private sector and leadership of both countries to now move progressively forward on a platform that is supported by the government of Ghana and the Exim Bank.
Outside of the oil and gas, President Ali said Ghana has more distinct advantages in becoming the leader in climate change, environmental services, biodiversity services, food security, and production. The president also spoke of the critical infrastructural link that can unlock tremendous potential for the vast array of natural resources the country is blessed with the country sharing links with northern Brazilian states and the Atlantic Ocean. President Ali said a logistics and transport hub could be developed second to none in scale. He also spoke of the government's focus on renewable energy, which will see access to clean energy and advance sustainability and resilient development. As it related to the social sector, health and education, President Ali said that already the government is partnering with Mount Sinai Hospital to strengthen healthcare delivery.
Here is the Exim Bank providing leadership for the U.S. private sector and unlocking the vehicle for them to have great participation.
The U.S. Export-Import Bank is the official export credit agency of the U.S. federal government. Operating as a wholly owned federal government corporation, the bank assists in financing and facilitating U.S. exports of goods and services. A Latin miner was killed and the suspect was killed trying to escape. More from Esther Silvers.
Detectives are investigating a double murder at Guyana Region 7. Dead are Andre Williams, called Roy, a miner who resided at Lethem Region 9, and Ryan Singh of Cameroon River. Singh allegedly murdered Williams on Wednesday, July 27, 2022, at the Petty Maki Bagdam, Guyana River. However, he was fatally shot after he attempted to chop a part-time police constable attached at the Hopkinson Mining Inc., who along with another man attempted to detain him for killing Williams. Investigation revealed that Andre Williams and Ryan Singh were known to each other and were often seen imbibing together. Information from the region indicates that around 9 a.m. Williams and Singh were seen walking on the roadway in an intoxicated state after they were observed consuming alcohol. An argument ensued between the two men, and Singh, armed with a cutlass, dealt Andre Williams several chops to his body. Williams fell to the ground and became motionless. Singh tried to escape on foot but was pursued and later confronted by Avondale Glan and Chavez Andre, a supernumerary constable employed at the Hopkinson Mining Inc. on the Blackwater Main Street. Singh was still armed with the cutlass, attacked Andrews by firing 2 chops at him. Andrews, armed with an AR-15 rifle, warded off the chops with a rifle and subsequently discharged 3 rounds in Singh's direction, hitting him. He ran a short distance away and fell onto a clump of bushes. Detectives in the region were alerted and visited the scenes where Williams' body was examined. And 3 gaping wounds to the back of his neck, 3 deep lacerations to the right shoulders, and a gaping wound on the lower back was seen. Singh's body was also examined and the gunshot injuries were seen. The bodies were subsequently escorted to Bartical. Chavez Andrews is in police custody assisting with investigations. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Stick around after the break. Ministry of Health continues its preparation against monkeypox, and Guyana Prison Services showcase prisoners' talent at the Building Expo.
Traveling soon? Then come into John Lewis Styles on Waterloo Street and let's help you choose the right set of luggage. You can choose to buy 3-piece luggage sets, or separate pieces, but the sets are always a better deal. Either available in soft poly, or ABS hard side material, with 4-wheeled spinners, and in many colors too. Also available are carry-on luggage, computer bags, duffel bags, backpacks, travel pillows, blankets and lots more to make your trip enjoyable. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health has organized training for laboratory staff regionally to combat the infectious monkeypox disease, which is rapidly spreading around the world. The training commenced today at the National Public Health Reference Lab by a staff member who was recently trained by Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization in Jamaica. Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, said the training is important and is being headed by an expert in the field. He added that she brings expertise in how to do testing, the protocols that should be observed to get more acquainted with monkeypox, how to identify, how to diagnose, and how to take samples so that PCR testing can be done.
What we have done is to take laboratory and medical personnel from all the regional hospitals who will be involved in this training, so that if they do have a case, they would have the right techniques of how to take the sample, how to store the sample, and transport the sample to the laboratory so that we can do the confirmatory testing at the National Public Health Reference Lab. So that's a training that is occurring today. So we are preparing, although we don't have any cases, we are preparing. And
the training is being done to prepare the country to address any possible instance of the virus being identified here. According to Minister Anthony, close to 700 monkeypox cases have been registered in Brazil.
Brazil has reported monkeypox for a while now. It's not the first case. In fact, Brazil right now, the total cases that they have reported is 696 cases. And over the last 7 days, Brazil would have had 312 new cases over the last week. So Brazil is one of those countries where a number of cases have been recorded. And around us, Venezuela has recorded a case. And in the Caribbean as a whole, we would have had 2 cases in Jamaica, 1 case in Barbados, 1 case in Bermuda, 1 case in the Bahamas, and 1 in Martinique. So we are seeing cases circulating in the region, and we have to be cognizant of that. We have also seen in the Americas, generally, about 5,412 cases total. In the last 7 days, there has been 2,096 new cases in the Americas. So that's a 63.2% change from what it was a week prior. So this is something that we have to pay a lot of attention to, and trying to make sure that it is contained.
The minister listed some of the symptoms of monkeypox.
A person who presents with monkeypox, we can first of all gather the history from that person. So most of these persons would have traveled to a place probably where they might have been in contact, very close contact with someone who was infected. So travel history is very important when reviewing these cases. And secondly, what we have to also look at, what is becoming very clear, there are certain epidemiological features that is coming out from the data that we have. Among the trends that we are seeing is that there are lots of young male who are affected. That doesn't mean that other persons cannot be affected, but among the cases that have been recorded, we have seen a large percentage of those cases being males. Among the males, a percentage of those persons are also men who have sex with men.
Dr. Anthony noted that symptoms of the disease can appear about 5 days after a person is infected. The virus is not only spread through contact with monkeys, but rodents and infected persons. Persons can be immunized against monkeypox with the vaccine used for smallpox, which has shown promising results. The Ghana Prison Service participated in Building Expo 2022, as the Sobers explains.
The Guyana Prison Service involvement in the Guyana International Building Expo 2022 has provided some insights into positive developments that have occurred in the prison system. Under the theme, A New Frontier for Building a One Guyana, the Guyana Prison Service joined over 300 local and international companies for the 5-day event, which was held from July 22nd to July 28th at the National Stadium. Director of Prisons Nicolon Elliott said the Guyana Prison Service participated in the Guyana Expo and did so to share information on the beneficial changes that have been taking place in the prison system. Elliott noted that the Guyana Prison Service participation not only showcased the positive developments, but also the depth of talents of the inmates. He further noted that the range of items on display is an indication of the innovation and creativity of the inmates. Most importantly, is its evidence of the new skills that are learning at the correctional institution. Meanwhile, officer in charge of prisoners, welfare and corrections, Marcel Bristol Grant, pointed out that the booth reflected the many vocational courses offered to inmates while incarcerated. She said it must be noted that inmates are not just sitting around passing time. Continued efforts are made to keep them gainfully engaged. The prisons displayed their work showcasing combination chairs, school desks and bench, center tables, rolling pins, cutting boards, canvas, art, painting, leather key rings and belts, preschool chairs, model houses, plant pots, towel racks, blocks, and office chairs. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Don't go away after the break. Iraqi protesters stormed the parliament in Baghdad's Green Zone, and Fed hikes rates by 75 basis points for a second straight month.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold, and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Traveling soon? Then come into John Lewis Styles on Waterloo Street and let's help you choose the right set of luggage. You can choose to buy 3-piece luggage sets or separate pieces, but the sets are always a better deal. Either available in soft poly or ABS hard side material, with 4-wheeled spinners, and in many colors too. Also available are carry-on luggage, computer bags, duffel bags, backpacks, travel pillows, blankets and lots more to make your trip enjoyable. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Here now is Esther Sobers with today's regional and international news.
Good evening. Now we look at news in the region. A year since the moonshot ascent to Peru's highest office, Socialist President Pedro Castillo is in the throes of political crisis. Al Jazeera Mariana Sanchez reports.
When Pedro Castillo won the presidency 1 year ago, he promised Peruvians he would stamp out corruption in government and end poverty in the country. The farmer and rural teacher also candidly said he was learning the job on the go. But 1 year on, Castillo is struggling. He has sworn in 4 cabinets with more than 50 ministers dismissed amid political infighting.
We are not here to be a circus. The country has put us here to work for Peru, for development and a fight against corruption.
But Castillo himself stands accused of corruption. The Attorney General is investigating Castillo for peddling, graft, and obstruction of justice for allegedly orchestrating the escape of key allies who prosecutors say may hold evidence of the president's involvement in crimes.
He is not the honest man we thought he was. He is suspected of corruption in his awarding of public contracts. Perhaps the most solid accusation against him is silencing people who could accuse him of being a criminal.
When Castillo won the presidency, he raised the hopes of poor Peruvians who saw in him a man who would better understand their grievances. But the pandemic and rising fuel prices caused by the war in Ukraine have made conditions worse, and allegations of corruption by the president have turned the hopes of millions of Peruvians into anger. His presidency has been marked by constant protests, claiming Castillo is incompetent and corrupt. Opinion polls show his approval rating is at a low of just 19%. With most former presidents either under investigation or convicted of corruption, Peruvians say they want him out.
We want the truth to be known because we deserve a president who is not involved in corruption.
But the president says he's innocent, and still some supporters give him the benefit of the doubt.
Anyone can be investigated, but until there is a sentence, there is no guilt.
Castillo has unsuccessfully requested the Attorney General and the probes. While the president cannot, under Peruvian law, be tried or sentenced while still in office, his political enemies are working hard to ensure that he'll be removed as president and sent to trial long before the end of his official 5-year term. Mariana Sanchez, Al Jazeera, Lima, Peru.
Internationally, no lawmakers were present in the Iraq parliament when the protesters penetrated the capital's highest security green zone, home to the government buildings and diplomatic missions, on Wednesday. Al Jazeera's Lauren Burden-Manley reports.
A show of dissent in the heart of political decision-making in Baghdad. Protesters taking over the Speaker's plinth and MPs' benches. They're supporters of the influential Shia cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. He says he does not want Mohammed al-Sudani to be the next Prime Minister, and his supporters are likely attempting to enforce this.
This is only from Baghdad. He didn't bring his supporters from other provinces. Stormed the green zone, the parliament. They're in good numbers. It seems to me that there is a plan of escalating this protesting movement, so to speak. He basically wants to dislodge the candidate for the premiership.
And this is how they got through the heavily fortified so-called green zone. Undeterred by water cannon, protesters ripped through the cement blast walls surrounding a 10-kilometre stretch of the city. Dozens passed with apparent ease, forcing their way down the main thoroughfare towards Parliament. They remained there until Sadr instructed them to withdraw. In a tweet, he described it as a revolution of reform and rejection of corruption, saying the message had been delivered and the protesters have terrified the corrupt in power. Sadr is one of the most popular politicians in Iraq. His party was the biggest winner in October's election, but he failed to form a majority coalition. Last month, more than 70 MPs allied with the Shia cleric resigned from Parliament, calling it corrupt. Now the pro-Iran coordination framework is nominating Sudani as Prime Minister. For now, this is a victory for Sadrists and a threat to political decision-makers. Analysts say protesters are likely to maintain the pressure from the streets. Laura Burden-Manley, Al Jazeera.
And finally, The Federal Reserve on Wednesday raised interest rates by 75 basis points for the second time in as meeting as the U.S. Central Bank doubled down on fighting the highest inflation in more than 40 years. Al Jazeera's Mike Hanna reports.
With an inflation rate that is nearing 10%, all eyes were on the Federal Reserve and the announcement of its plan to try to push it down.
Against this backdrop, today the FOMC raised its policy interest rate by 0.75 percentage point and anticipates that ongoing increases in the target range for the federal funds rate will be appropriate.
The increase was not unexpected, and the stock markets, which have been calling for aggressive Fed action, rose sharply on the news, bolstered also by the Fed chairman's contention that the country was not in a recession.
It doesn't seem that the U.S. economy is in recession right now.
That, along with the fact that he left the door open about the size of any rate move in September.
As the stance of monetary policy tightens further, it likely will become appropriate to slow the pace of increases while we assess how our cumulative policy adjustments are affecting the economy and inflation.
The rate increase is going to directly affect this D.C. smokehouse. Its owner, Mel Hines' plans for expansion had already been impacted by rising inflation.
Obtaining wood, obtaining cement really went through price adjustments. So my contractor was conscious of it, but of course, it rolls down the hill. So it has to come to me as well. So, you make adjustments to the project plans, you make adjustments to how you operate.
And so the price increases are passed on to the customer, who's now expecting a better product for the higher price.
We check prices. If we walk out of here, satisfied with the food we ate, we don't care about prices. But, if we're not satisfied with the food, we'll probably have a conversation about.
Economists maintain the rate hike was the only tool the Fed has to counter inflation in the long term. But in the short term, the medicine's going to have a bitter taste. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Thanks, Esther. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2's Headline News Update. We will be back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other and do have a great Emancipation Weekend.